something. It's like a podcast, but it's a vodcast, so you can listen and watch. It's like news talk or sports talk, but it's life talk, so we can walk the road together. On today's show, Karol Ladd, author, speaker, and founder of Positive Women Connection, joins us to talk about a positively positive summer. Just might cool off these hot days. Thanks for joining the conversation. Here we go. Okay, so Karol Ladd is known as the Positive Lady. Her heart's desire is to inspire women with a message of lasting hope and biblical truth. She's the best-selling author of over 35 books, including The Power of a Positive Mom and her newest book, Becoming a Woman of the Word. Find Karol at positivewomenconnection.com. We're thinking summer, we're thinking positive, we're thinking fun, but we're thinking hot, and we're thinking close quarters. And how can we stay positive and fun in the middle of that?
Right. Yes.
Do you feel that way?
Oh, for sure. Yes. Yeah. Although I personally love summer. I don't like all the structure of school and tight schedules. I sort of like the chill factor of summer.
I do too. I like the difference in routine, but I like to have a little routine.
Yes.
At least just a little, I call it like a skeleton schedule. Just, so it's not real tight.
Right.
But just have a few things. And maybe even just one activity a day that maybe we insert now and then, And then I will say one thing that I do love about summer is nap time. And I mean, even the older kids having.
Do you really?
Oh, yes. Okay.
What?
So.
Even for you?
Okay, let me. Oh, yeah.
Older kid.
Okay. So let me phrase it this way.
Say more about nap time.
Okay. So let me phrase it as not nap time, but FOB.
Yes.
Now, remember?
From home.
Yes. As a former counselor at camp, we always, no matter what the age of the kids,
that's right,
we had FOB, flat on bunk, or flat on bed. And it was a time just to take it easy and to either kids could read or relax or rest, but we all needed it. And I carried that on through as my kids even got older. Now I wasn't just strict, you must do it, but we did it enough so that we had we knew after lunch, after we had done some fun things in the morning, let's just have a little restful time. And we would maybe read some books, and when they were younger I would read the books to them and then say, okay, now just hang out on your bed and you can do whatever you want. I mean, you can read, play or read a book or rest, but it gave me some downtime too. And in the heat of the summer, they call it dog days of summer, when we all kind of, we kind of need some rest and some time to be in our rooms alone. And I think that's the area where we all tend to think, I've got to fill up every minute for these kids because I don't want the B word to come out, boredom. Right. I don't want them to get bored. And so one of the other things that we did as a family is we decided to have a boredom buster can. And at the beginning of the summer, we created a coffee can with, and we decorated the outside of the can. And then it was just one day we just sat down and we'd take index cards and we'd start writing down, okay, if you feel the B word, boredom coming on, well, what can you do? What can you do? Let's think of all the fun things we can do. And so we just sat around, put our heads together. Well, we could put on roller skates, or roller blades. I guess we don't skates anymore, but roller blades. Or we could go swimming, or we could call somebody and see if they want to come over and watch a movie. Or, and so we just wrote down all these things, put them in the Boredom Busters can. So I kept that can in the kitchen all summer long. Now, we never actually went into the can and pulled anything out. No, because they knew it was in there. They knew what was in there. They had thought it through. That they knew that they didn't have to say the word bored. Because they knew that they had thought up stuff that they could do, and that they could use their own creativity to do something. There's always something to do.
Yes.
And they can figure that out, and it just inspired their own creativity. So it was just a reminder that you never have to use that boredom word.
You never do have to be bored.
That's right. That's right. There's always something.
There is always something.
Yeah.
I think so many good things come out of boredom, right? Because kids today are so entertained and so occupied all the time that they don't have time to be creative. And it's only when they're bored that they allow their minds to wander and explore, and they do things that they wouldn't normally do. I think being bored is a great thing.
It is. It is. I remember as a kid, I mean, we didn't have all these things to do.
Right.
Summers, we really had time on our hands.
For sure.
And it was wonderful because we created, we imagined. And that's the thing that even studies now show, that kids just are not using their imagination as they once did, as our generation did.
It's like a weaker muscle because it hasn't been used.
That's right.
Where it used to rely on it.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Now they just Google it.
Right. Yes.
Yes, exactly. I know, and that, there's always a source. But even, on summer, putting some boundaries on that screen time is important. Now, have y'all done that? Have y'all put boundaries on screen time? Like, what makes sense?
Yeah, because you didn't deal with that.
I know, we didn't. I know. Isn't that
weird?
crazy?
I know.
My kids are 29 and 30 right now. So they grew up in the era where they did not, the no cell phone era. But y'all aren't. And so what kind of boundaries do y'all set?
We have a docking station that is away from the kids, and the phones are docked by a certain time at night. There's never a phone at a mealtime ever. So they're put away then, and then they're put away by a certain time at night, and then they stay docked in our presence and nowhere near our kids' presence throughout the night until morning when I give it back to them. And then as far as TVs, our summertime rule is, because my kids, they enjoy waking up slowly and kind of chilling out. My son loves documentaries. He's a real thinker, and so he really loves documentaries. And so I give them time to wake up slowly in the morning and to wind down at night. But there's no screen on allowed between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. It has to be off.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
We just turn it off.
Yes. Wait, between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. you have no television?
No TVs are allowed on. No.
Wow.
Well, but you know what? They complain about it for the first couple of days, and kind of like what you said. And then all of a sudden they go, oh, well, gosh, we could go door to door on our street and collect kids and go play a game, or we can do whatever, or we could start a new puzzle. And they start thinking of things that they can do because they're not sitting there in a vegetative state in front of the TV.
Well, yeah.
Because my kids can do that. They can. They can marathon TV watch like nobody.
Well, and I think it goes back to kind of like, if you don't give them the option of TV, then you have to start figuring out, okay, well, what am I going to do? What am I, and what would be your suggestion for maybe somebody who's listening to this for the first time and thinking, oh my word, if I tell my kids that, I'm just going to hear, I'm bored, and I don't want to hear all the whining.
Right.
So what do you do to curb that? What are some words parents can say to their kids that just kind of nip the whining so that they start relying on themselves to come up with activities?
One thing I did tell my kids is, I said, boredom is in the eye of the beholder. If you are bored, that's your fault, because there are so many things to do. Yeah. But I do think, as parents, we can guide them to show them some fun things that they can do to get the ball rolling, to get them started. So it's fun to kind of think through some indoor things and some outdoor things, to be a little bit prepared, to just have some things to show them, look at what you can do. And sometimes I'll even, like just a simple thing, I'll even take some foil, just things that we have around the house, and say, okay, everybody have a sheet of foil. And then I say, okay, let's see what we can make with this foil. And we start forming the foil and just making, it's a simple little game, but it just shows them their resourcefulness just by something simple. Sometimes we'll just take stuff out of the recycle bag and say, okay, what can we build with this, using duct tape and the stuff in our recycle bin. Just looking
That's a
for,
cool idea.
you know, just giving them things to think about how they can create, that God has made them as a creative being, and that they just need to we just kind of help that avenue. Another thing is just getting them to help. You know, if you're bored, well then you know you can always help me with some of the chores around the house.
I go. I'm like, I'll give you a few fun things, and as soon as you better take one, because the next option.
But see, but I'm gonna say I mean I think the chores, it sounds so negative, and it's like chores is a punishment, and I don't know, I don't really find chores to be a punishment. Yeah, I'm not joking. But it's like work. It makes it sound so bad. You were created to do that. You have a purpose and a giftedness to be able to do that. And so why make it negative? You know. And so
there you go. An upswing on this.
I'm not trying to be Pollyanna. I've watched it play out. Yeah. And so I know that there can be whining at the onset of the quote working. But it's short-lived. And so I think a lot of times it's like, well, I can't be doing this, as their minds are on what they could be doing, what everybody else is doing, you know, and how it's not fair, blah, blah, blah. And I have found that those times where we involve them, it's crazy. And I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it all the time. And I've had people come up to me after I've been like, by the way, when they start doing this stuff, they're going to want more. Like, they turn around and find other things to do because it makes them feel better.
There's a sense of accomplishment.
I think all of us, I mean, how do you feel if you sat and watched TV all day?
Yeah,
you're right. Exactly.
That's right. Yeah.
And so do they. And so it's like, but you know, having older kids, I don't mind them watching TV some during the day. They are so done. Like they are just. I mean, stick a fork in them. They have just what they've lived through through the last year. It's just like wrong. And so I sit there, I'm like, the vegetative state, you know, just veg for a little bit.
And we don't have to keep putting stuff in front of them. Vegging out or hanging out on bed is good time.
There is something about it.
It is.
Good.
It is.
And it's a fine line, I guess.
Well, and I think there is, you know, it always comes back to balance.
Oh, yes. And that's, to me, the special part of summer is that it's time that we can engage with our kids and be together. Yes.
Okay,
and
so balance. And then we really want from you, the positive woman that you are, how do you, in these close quarters when it can be tight, what kind of things do you do just to stay positive as a woman and as a mom? I mean, especially, I think there's such great temptations. I know you did not deal with the phone and the internet as much as people deal with it now.
Yes.
But to be able to see everyone on vacation and I'm not on vacation, or to be seeing all the camps that we should be doing and we're not doing, or all those kinds of things. How do you stay positive, or how would you say stay positive in the midst of close quarters and maybe seeing more than how to see things?
Yes. Well, I think that a lot of it comes down to staying grounded as a mom, and that grounding comes in first of all by really grounding yourself in spending time with the Lord alone. You know, just even if you have to tell the kids, I'm sorry, mommy needs a little alone time just to be with the Lord, and to really share with them that that's what you're doing. You know,
it's important for them to see that.
Yes, it is. And somehow that I don't want to sound all superficial here, but I'm being serious. To me, that's the anchor that helps us to begin to that foundation of staying balanced and being able to say, I'm okay with who I am because I've been with the Father and I know who He says I am, and that's my strength and my foundation. And so that, to me, that's one of the most important things. So during the summertime, your schedule's a little different, and sometimes people may let their time with the Lord go by the wayside. And so I would say, really, to make it through the summer with balance, as a mom, just to maintain that. But then also recognize, and Kay, you talk so much about this, is just recognizing that comparison is very real. It's something that we deal with on a daily, maybe hourly basis, and that we have to combat it. We have to recognize that it's there, and we have to say, I use this example. I used to be a track coach, and so I would at Trinity,
really?
At Trinity Christian, yes. Yes. So and also in Mesquite at a middle school in Mesquite. So both of those places. And as we trained the sprinters, the most important thing we had to tell our sprinters is keep your eye on the finish line. Don't look to the left or the right. You have got to keep your eye on the finish line. And so, because if they looked to the left or the right, it would throw them totally off. One little second, and they would lose.
Right.
So, for moms and women in general, I say the same thing. Keep your eye on what God has created you to be. Keep your eye on what He has intended for you to do, and don't keep looking right or left to compare yourself and say, "Where's my competitor?" But to remember, this is my lane to run in. This is my race to run. This is what God's intended me to do. But I will say this: on the other hand, there are times when we do need to look to the left or the right, and that's when it is in compassion, when we need to look at other people and say, what can I do for you? How can I help you? And so we don't want to stay so in our lane that we're not looking at others in compassion. And I use the illustration of another race. And this was a race, a Special Olympics in Seattle. And this was a long time ago, but I read this story and I've never forgotten it. 9 little runners were running the 100-meter dash, and the gun went off, and they were about to start on their little journey to the finish line. And as they were running, one of the runners fell down, and he screamed out when he fell. And slowly, the other contestants in the race stopped their little pace, stopped their running, turned around, came back and helped their fallen friend. They said things like, "Oh, here, I'll help you," and one bent down and kissed his boo-boo. And then they all joined arms. Nobody told them to do this. They all joined arms and they walked across the finish line together. Well, the people in the audience started clapping.
Sure.
And then they started realizing, oh my word, what we just watched was so amazing. That's how we should live life. And they stood their feet, and I think they applauded for something like 5 minutes just in what they had just seen, that act of thinking of the other person. So there is that balance. Yes, we want to run our race, and when it comes to comparison, don't compare, don't look to the left or right thinking, oh, I got to be like her, I got to be like her. You've got your race that God's given you. But on the other hand, when it comes to thinking about other people and loving other people and caring for their needs, that we do need to be looking left and right, and we do need to like that example.
I love that.
Wow.
I absolutely love that. Like, yes, stay in your lane. Oh, but watch your other runners.
Yes.
Because sometimes they need to be picked up. And
yes.
sometimes they need
yes.
your encouragement, your help, or
yes.
I love
those
that.
people posting on Facebook that have all these glorious things, and then yet they have hurting hearts. And
yeah, you've got to look behind the picture.
That's right.
It's the picture behind the picture.
Yes.
Well, there's another word that you taught me probably 5 years ago when we first met.
Yes.
And the story resonated so much, and I think of it often whenever I am challenged or going through anything difficult. And you taught me the word heliotropic. Yes, and heliotropic, which is not a normal word.
I used that word this morning. I can't even.
So,
is it an adjective?
It is. It's an adjective.
It is. Yes.
So what it is sunflowers in the summer, they're heliotropic. And so what they do, the face of a sunflower, which I love sunflowers, they follow the pattern of the sun throughout the day. They actually physically turn and move so that they're always facing the sun. Yes. And it's such a gorgeous metaphor that if we too, as women, hope to keep our positivity and our joy. We keep our joy by staying focused on the Lord. That's where our eyes should be.
Yes.
And I always remember, I mean, there are times where literally out loud I'll say, heliotropic. Right? Come on.
That's the cool thing about sunflowers as well. They're called sunflowers not only because they look like the sun, but they look at the sun. And so when we are looking at the sun, we look like the sun. Yes. And so I think that is a good little analogy.
See, you're going to start using heliotropic now.
It's very good.
Yes. Oh, and okay, so two more things about the sunflower, just so we know. Their roots, they have a deep root system. And so that means that they are drought resistant. And so they are able to make it through.
I did not know that.
Yes, difficult times because they have such a deep root system. Now we're all hearing the analogy here.
Yes.
That deep root, let your roots grow down deep into Christ. But then also one other thing about sunflowers is they're very fruitful. They, one sunflower, the large kind, can produce over 1,000 seeds. And so you think about those seeds. Sunflower seeds are used for multi different things, everything from sunflower seed butter to just nutritious snacks, and they are very nutritious. And you think about, wow, the Lord intends for us to be fruitful in that similar way, to bear much fruit.
Yes.
And so it really does give us a great analogy.
Absolutely.
It really does. So maybe that's something we can do with our kids during the summer is plant sunflower seeds.
There you go.
There you go. That's one thing. Okay, so one thing that talk about boredom. One of the things I did with my kids when they were little is I did, and this might sound corny in a way, but it really worked. It got us through the summer, was theme weeks. We would we would do one theme per week. And we would just choose something to focus on. And so one week...
Like what? Okay, good.
Bugs. So you could have Outer Space Week where you're going, you watch some movies on outer space, maybe Star Wars if they're the right age,
Right.
But then, might go to the
planetarium.
Yes, and get some books and, you can actually... This is fun. Foil again, okay? You might need to go to Costco and get the big thing of foil. Okay, so you can have a moon rock hunt, okay? Get ready for this. Take foil and just clump it up. You can even put a little prize inside of it, maybe, but think about an egg hunt. Think about how kids love egg hunts. Well, why should we just have egg hunts around Easter time? Might as well have little hunts all year long. And so one of those can be a moon rock hunt.
That's
so you
so
just
fun.
prepare a bunch of little moon rocks with just crumpled up foil, hide them around the house, and send them off on a moon rock hunt. And they look for it. And it can have a prize in it or maybe not. It just doesn't have to. But
I'm hearing all this, and as a non-crafty mom,
yes.
I want to stand up for all the non-crafty moms and say, I'm hearing you, and I can feel the oxygen leaving my lungs. Oh my gosh, that seems like a lot of work. What do I do? And I'm not creative, and so. What if you're not?
So then you don't do the crafty stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine.
Maybe you do the avenues of what you mean.
I can do the space rocks. I can
crumple
aluminum
space
foil.
rocks.
Yeah.
But then maybe you do, and maybe if you're not artsy creative, but you love to cook, and your theme is ants, then you do one of those dirt cakes or whatever.
Yes,
Thank you. Okay. Yes.
I love it.
And who doesn't love to crush up?
Thank you for knowing
Yes.
the dessert girl.
Yes, there you go. I love it.
Problem
Maybe it is.
Absolutely.
And Erin, to your point, I think sometimes we hear suggestions and we start to say, but I'm not that, but I'm not that. Maybe we hear these type of suggestions and say, okay, how does that fit with me? Where does my personality come out in that? Here's what I like to do. So I wouldn't do it exactly the way this person would, but I like to do this. So we're going to take that same overarching idea and go this way because this is the way my family goes. This is the way. And then that way you can do whatever you
I
do.
also think too, depending upon the age of your kids, because you can
sure.
have your older ones who you may have somebody crafty in your house, and I know you have art in your house, and so it's well, why don't you take this? Kathleen Fisher was over this morning, and she talked about in her house, her mother did Camp Tuesdays. She called it Camp Tuesdays. And because she knew that Kathleen wasn't going to want to do the things that she wanted to teach her. And so she had her invite her friends over, and with their friends, she taught them how to knit, and she taught them how to cook, and she taught them, and it became a camp thing, and her friends loved coming over. And so I thought that was such a creative idea,
Perfect.
like to bring in the people and go, you're not alone. This isn't like some punishment that you have to, like, things, because it's a lot more fun with a friend.
That's right. And you got to know your kids. If they would like to do it better with friends, then really make sure that the friends are coming over and that they're invited. And we talked about the kitchen too.
Yeah.
Really cooking can be such a great activity
Oh
during
my
the
God.
season.
Well, I love your week thing. That's really fun. Okay,
yeah,
so keep
theme
going.
weeks. Okay, and you could do an art week if you want.
That's
just
a great idea.
whatever you see your kids
It's
kind of
so
gravitate
brilliant because
towards.
and there's great exhibits right now.
Exactly. Exactly. So you can go to the exhibits, then you can watch a movie, and no matter what age they are, you can up it to their age, up the theme to their age. One simple thing I did with my girls, one of my daughters, I really noticed she just loved to draw. So every morning when she came down for breakfast, there was a blank piece of paper and crayons right there.
Carol, that's
and do
brilliant.
you know, now she works in the art world in New York. And she still attests to this day that was something that motivated her to grow in art.
Everything in that
very
is
simple.
so beautiful, but you know your child.
Yes.
You're not wigging out over like making sure she was in an art camp.
Right,
You're just
no.
putting it. And so she feels known by you, which again, and it's so teeny tiny and little. I love that. And so what a cool thing, a challenge to each of us to go through the people that we love in our life.
Yes.
Even for my mom, like I want to make sure my mother knows how loved she is, or our friends that we have, to be able to put something on their doorstep that's just them. Like you know.
Oh, I love that.
It's just like, I think it, and gosh, anytime you get your eyes off yourself, there's so much life. Maybe that's the problem with, maybe that's what we do sometimes or think that we have to do with downtime, is that we get a little stuck on ourselves.
Oh, there you go.
And so get your eyes off yourself and there's life.
Back to that race again, you know? The race where they all joined arms and walked together, looking for, how can I love well? How can I love somebody else well? What can we do for somebody else?
One thing you said the other day, because Carol was sweet to come and teach one of our Bible studies this summer, and she said that when she gets up in the morning, that the first thing that she does, I'm just saying, is she writes down at least 5 things for which to be grateful. And so what a great way to start the day. And she said she specifically put something about her husband. And so even if you don't have a husband, maybe you specifically go through someone in your immediate family and write down something to be grateful for. But what a great way to start the day. Say something nice to the people around you. Maybe find a way to inspire someone along your path. And then these fun ideas, I just love them. I can't wait. So
Me too. I'm going to do it. I'm not a theme kind of person, but
she's going to try it.
I can totally see where this has a lot of legs and can help me organize too, if I have a theme to organize.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. Really fun.